Hello and welcome to NerdQuake episode 19. We could call this the triumphant return, but we've already had that, so I don't even know what we're going to call it.
Triumphant return 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah.
Today is April 19th, 2014. You are listening to me, Mike Bell. I'm also joined by Clive.
Hey, everyone.
And Chris. I don't even know what are we calling you nowadays?
Just call me Chris, whatever.
Let's call you Dark
Funny
Juan.
last name. I'm just your
Dark
host.
Juan.
Let's just call him Juan. Let's just call him Juan, period.
Juan.
Juan. Chris Dark Juan.
Chris Dark Juan.
We've decided on a new format. We're going to keep it short and sweet. We just want to talk about kind of the hitting issues with us right now and what games we're playing and what we're excited about and what we're ticked off about and so on and so forth. And if you want to chime in, we are streaming on Clive's channel. That will probably change, but right now you can find us at twitch.tv/Clive5. I don't really know who I'm saying that to you because if you're not on that channel, you're probably not hearing us right now. So,
But if you follow that channel, maybe you'll also see future episodes of NerdQuake.
you might. That's a good
more.
possibility.
And more.
And
Shameless self-plug.
That's right.
what more are they going to see exactly?
Are you
Gotta
kidding
tune in to
me?
find out.
That's up to Dark One.
My community manager.
That's right. I decide what it says on stream, damn it.
Yeah, Clive constantly streams on twitch.tv/Clive5 with giveaways and cool stuff all the time, so you can follow him. He's pretty much on there every night, I would say. Probably at least 6 nights a week, right?
That is right.
Yeah, so pretty good bet you can find him live on there pretty much after about 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time every day of the week, because that's what he does. So what are we going to start off with tonight? Who's got the real passion to start off with something? What's important to us tonight?
Video games.
What's that?
Video games are important to us.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, I don't know. Video games, come on. It's
Video
very
games?
simple. Video.
I don't.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, video.
Ah.
Oh,
that's
you
bad.
old guys.
Oh.
I swear to
That was
God.
bad. It reminds me of Supernatural. What's the guy who always calls them idiots?
Oh, that's, what is his name? I haven't seen that show in such a long
Ah,
time.
he's dead. Who cares? Let's move on.
Okay.
Diablo 3, the expansion. You guys still playing it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You play it often? I mean,
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember we had not some nice things to say against Blizzard when Diablo first came out.
Oh, my.
But,
mostly
they've-
related to the auction house.
Yes, but
Yeah.
also the loot system, which was, a consequent of that. If you have, a million people farming for gear and selling it to everyone else, then nobody gets good gear, because otherwise, statistically,
Everybody gets good gear, so
Right.
no one gets good gear.
So they rolled out Loot 2.0, which is that you don't have to have the expansion pack to get that, and that fixed a ton of stuff. In my opinion, gear is more catered to what class you're playing, usually, which is nice. And of course, not everything that drops is going to be an upgrade, but at least it'll make you take a look at it and say, oh, well, can this be, utilized for a different build?
I bought the expansion, but the problem with this game for me is that it's all same old, same old. Like, I played through the storyline, and Chris joined me for a little bit of the storyline, but this game is so repetitive. I've never been able to have any duration with Diablo. So
Yeah, it's just you don't like the genre as much. It's a dungeon crawler loot grind game.
yeah, well,
That's what it's
it's
all about.
the grind is like grinding for World of Warcraft or anything. It's just that's all that game is. Like, even the boss fights feel like grinding. So I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's just never the genre has really never appealed to me strongly. So
But when that
now, it's fun to
legendary
play
drops,
multiplayer. Yeah,
When-
that goes with any game. Like, if you take a game that's halfway decent and you add multiplayer to it, then I do. Like, I'll play with Chris even now. Like, I'd play Diablo with Chris today. But
You would, it's true.
it's true. Yeah.
I can confirm.
But you guys play solo like Chris. When's the last time you played Diablo?
The day before I left. I mean, I haven't this weekend because I'm at Clive's house.
Oh,
hell
that's
yeah.
important. We should have said that. Huh?
Ah,
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
I
in
was
the other
here
room
for a
at
great
Clive's house.
party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrorizing his animals and
Yeah. Clive won't let him in his computer room, so he's in another room. But
yeah, I'm in the basement in the laundry room actually.
It's too close for comfort. Just
he told me to come over, but you can't come in the computer room.
You cannot touch me at all.
yeah. But it does also mark the first time that I've met either one of you guys in person. So
After 4-ish years
yeah,
of knowing each other, it's been a while.
Yeah, and Chris has relocated to Iowa, so now he's about 5 hours from there, right?
That's about it, and that's why it's happened, because it's like, oh, it's only a 5-hour drive. Let's head to where he lives.
Chris and I are already talking about me coming up for a weekend, Clive. So, when I come up, we'll just drive out to California.
that's right.
Well, no, we won't do that.
That would be a little more than a 5-hour drive, I think.
Yeah, that would not be fun. That'd be like 20-something hours.
And that brings up our other news about NerdQuake. If you haven't been following Clive's stream, but you follow NerdQuake, you might be interested to hear that Clive is no longer going to be living in Minnesota. He's relocating to California.
That's right, because I've achieved the nerd dream of accepting a job at Blizzard Entertainment.
He had a nerdgasm.
Oh yeah,
So jealous. So jealous. The low point for my life, but a high point for his life.
He's going to be working in the mailroom.
Yeah, I said I'll do anything. I just want to,
mopping the
you need a janitor.
stalls.
I am your man. That'd be me, though. I would take any job. Clive actually has...
Clive is going to be determining what he can do for Blizzard to make you buy more Blizzard stuff, basically. Am I right in that?
Yeah, and so it's going to be data-driven game design influence, from what I understand. So I'm sure a big emphasis is going to be, Hearthstone. How do you differentiate who's paying, who's not, and how do you convert those non-payers into payers, if you can at all?
Choking over here.
Sweet, let's listen in.
You killed Mike.
Sweet. Hey, buddy, how about you mute that mic while you're choking over there, so we don't have to hear you die?
You said let's listen in, so I turned it back on for you.
Oh.
Little lemonade down the wrong pipe there.
I gotcha. Mike's hard lemonade. Is that are we going with that one again?
Yeah, we can go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes down hard. Ugh.
All right.
So what I was going to get at is that I am a payer on Hearthstone. I haven't spent a lot, but I have spent some, and it obviously makes a huge difference because you get these ideas for decks, and then you want to move into something that you need. It's like I need a board clear or whatever, and you don't have that card, so you can disenchant to create dust to create your own cards. But in order to disenchant, you have to have extra cards. Right. So I can understand why they want that, but I mean, it's such a great game that I have a feeling they're I read an article that said they'd made 30 million already with it last year or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hearthstone up there on the top of their revenue chart very soon.
Certainly possible.
Especially now that it's out on iPad. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yep, I played them.
They released it for US iPad now as well, didn't they?
Yep.
What's that now?
I think it's available to the US.
Yeah, I think
iPad
as of the day
as well.
before yesterday, it came out in the US.
Confirmed because Clive was playing Hearthstone on the shitter this morning.
Yes.
With the iPad.
That's the thing about this is like I played Hearthstone maybe twice a week, a couple games here and there. I had quests built up. I barely played it all. Got it for the iPad, and I play it nonstop because my iPad's with me. So the game is tailored to where if you have to sit down for 5 minutes and wait for something, you can play a game of Hearthstone. So I'm playing it at work on my break. I'm playing it
during meetings.
Wherever. Yeah, during meetings while clients are talking to me, I'm like, hold on a minute.
What do you think, Mike? It's like, I think I need to kill this guy in one turn or he's going to beat me.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I think.
So, but the game itself on iPad, I mean, it's completely, available to you all the time. So you play it, you carry your iPad with you everywhere. So, and it's a phenomenal game. It's a lot of fun. A lot of strategy. The only thing is that I think the big thing now is that there's a lot of very, very similar decks because the cards are still pretty limited. So, everybody's kind of playing these similar schemes. Now, there is some variation, don't get me wrong. But my point is that as the amount of cards increase, the decks are going to change a lot, and you're going to see this game explode because everybody's going to have unique stuff, and it's going to be really who can tailor the best deck to and be able to play it well to be able to win.
Well, even without them adding new cards, we're still going to see new decks as the months go on because there are the people who do a lot of experimenting, a lot of pros who switch from Magic the Gathering to this game, in all honesty. We were talking about that at the party last night. I don't know, we were drunk, but we were talking about it. And there are still a lot of things you can do with the current stuff, a lot of interesting ideas people are coming out with. And for all of us, we're still on a very casual level. So yes, we will definitely see a lot of the same stuff. But for those legendary players, you're going to see a ton of different decks, and they may be similar, but 4 cards can make all the difference.
Oh
in
yeah,
the style.
this game definitely lends itself to theory crafting, without a doubt. So
But yeah,
I love it.
4
I love it.
cards, it will become really diverse eventually. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I love that. This Naxx expansion is scheduled to come out, so if you're not saving your gold, make sure you start saving because you're going to want to buy stuff when the Naxx expansion comes out, including new packs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll learn more about that as Clive gets involved because he's going to have the inside scoop.
Yeah, obviously won't be able to divulge secret information, but
No, but I'm sure that you'll find out details that, like the cool thing about having you working at Blizzard and being a part of NerdQuake is that you'll be able to find out kind of details that are public knowledge, but maybe are lesser known, because the articles get hit big and people kind of read the headlines and the small print sometimes gets looked over, but you're going to go, hey, guys, this is really important, even though nobody's talking about it.
yeah,
So I'm looking forward to that aspect.
for sure.
And, of course, getting in on all the alphas. 'Cause, the
Friends
whole
and family
NerdQuake
invites,
team.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
And possibly
Now.
NerdQuake Live from BlizzCon at some point in the future.
Wouldn't
Maybe
that
not
be great?
2014 BlizzCon, but at some
Hell,
point.
we
in the
will
future.
do 2014 BlizzCon.
What month is BlizzCon this year?
Usually like October, I think.
So
it's usually around that time.
it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could do a 2014 BlizzCon.
Certainly isn't.
Yeah, I mean Clive's going to be there, so
Said he'll pay for our airfare too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hooray!
All right, so Hearthstone, excited. Clive, you didn't really chime in on Hearthstone. You enjoying the game?
Yeah, I'm taking I haven't bought any packs, because I'm kind of trying to see what I can build without it, and it's very, very slow. It can be frustrating sometimes because I know that there are a lot of like deck guides out there, and
So in case you weren't paying attention, Clive is going to Blizzard to help them get people who are not paying to pay in Hearthstone, and he is not paying.
Basically, he's going to convince himself to spend money.
that's the goal,
He
right?
is his target audience. He's like,
He's
what
gonna be
would
like,
I?
I've done
what-
such a good job that I'm gonna buy some packs.
I will buy 1 pack today.
That's right. But I just want to
That
see.
slowness is terrible. I agree completely.
If
It's
it-
like,
Yeah. I just want to know, can it be done? And like I was on a tear this morning, and finally I got matched up with this guy, this druid who literally had legendary after legendary. I was like, oh man, how much money has this guy put into this game? It has to be like at least $100 for packs.
Well, you still don't know that for sure. If he's been playing like since beta and gotten all those packs from buying.
to be
with gold
perfectly
stuff,
honest, Clive, it's not hard to earn a pack a day.
Yeah.
You can do that fairly easy
or
if you get
more.
if you get a
play 10
good
hours
quest.
a day.
Yeah, if you get a good quest, like one of the ones that gives you 60, for example, then you only have to play. You only have to win 12 games to get 1 pack. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that would be a 60 would typically be a 5-win quest, and then the 12 because you get 10 per every 3, so that would give you an additional 40. So you get 100 for a pack. So if you think about 12 games, you could do that in an hour. So if you sat down to play hour and 15 minutes, if you win straight through, if you're losing, you could be in 2 hours. But like if you have your iPad with you, you could do that at lunchtime or whatever, and you can earn a pack a day. So if you think about that, and you think about how long Hearthstone has been out. Now, of course, iPad's only recent release, but if you think about how long Hearthstone's been out and people playing games on their computer, if they were willing to devote an hour a day, you could easily have had, I don't know, it's maybe been, what do you think, Chris? 6 months? Is that about right
Something like that, yeah.
for beta?
Yeah.
So if we figure 6 months and we just go with a 30-day month, you figure that's 180 days. So if you think about it, if you really put in the time and you were really devoted to it, and you got, even if you did, say 75% of that, it's like 150 packs. So you could have a bunch of legendaries and never have put a penny into it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about extreme devotion, and none of us have played that way.
That's
So,
right.
when you play a few games here and there, that frustration, it bites, because you're right. You're playing a hunter, and all of a sudden you see King Crush up there. So I annihilate that card. I love that card because I watch them play an 8/8 and it takes up all their mana, and then I just polymorph it or, random shot it or whatever.
But he has charge What
He
you gonna
does,
do
so
now?
They get eight
Yeah.
in. That's a good point. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the game itself. It can be done without paying, but it's to me, it's like if they give you a free game, I don't feel guilty spending $50. Because the game is worth $50. If they had released it and sold it that way, I don't know if they would have sold it. There wouldn't be as many people playing as there is, but a lot of people would buy into it just because it's a Blizzard game.
Well, they're smart getting in the free-to-play market. I mean, and speaking of that, we can go in straight to the next game, Heroes of the Storm.
Ooh,
Which
yeah.
I don't have yet. So
Ooh, yeah. Poor Mike. Yeah,
Birds.
we have it, though.
That's right.
I got it the night I arrived here at Clive's house. I was checking my email, and oh my god.
and
There
you don't
it
even
is.
have your computer, so you haven't even played it yet, have you?
No, I played it on the laptop here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we had
Fucked
an
up.
extra one. It hasn't been optimal, but it runs, and I've been able to lag into every major fight. It's been fantastic.
Hey, it was
So,
pretty
Clive, is Heroes of the Storm going to make you not play League of Legends anymore?
good. Probably not. Not yet, anyway. Heroes of the Storm, to me, doesn't seem like it's quite ready for prime time. And I realize I'm kind of maybe taking a risk by saying that, being critical of Blizzard. But there's not... I mean, League is very... you can really build diversely each game. You can build differently. Heroes of the Storm, it almost kind of eliminates a lot of that challenge. But it moves it out from sort of individual diversification more into a team play style, which has a lot of potential, but no one is really used to that yet in the MOBA
But I think it'll be
world.
good because right now in League, the mindset is you need to personally do well, regardless of if you win or lose. That way you'll be happy. In this game, it really only promotes doing well through teamwork because everyone gets a joined experience. You need to do the quests on the map for certain things to get ahead of your enemies. I like that. And then diversity, I think they have the groundwork laid for it because there's the talents, and it looks like you can build very differently based on your talents.
So talents
Yep.
will play more of a role in this game than they do in League of
Talents are
Legends?
basically the items of this game, it seems like.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you can have completely different. Like, for instance, I was playing, who did I play first last night? I played, I can't remember his
Tassadar,
name.
I think, right?
No, I played Zeratul.
Oh, Zeratul. You know, Protoss, a move to win sort of thing.
Yeah, and it was great a move to win. As a Zerg player, I don't get that option. But no, so I was playing him, and there's an option where one of them is like, you gain 15% lifesteal, or you can get health regeneration, stuff like that. So you can go for a very different play style. I mean, I think the lifesteal would be if you want to be in the fight and in their face more, whereas the life regen, you want to kind of wait and only do very focused attacks, then go back right afterwards and regen your health. So, and that's on top of a lot of other different skills. There's one skill like you get an ultimate where you could put someone into stasis for 5 seconds where they can't move and they're invulnerable, kind of like a divine shield. And the other one is increases your attack speed and lifesteal and stuff like that. So very different play styles. It's basically like buying a Zonia's versus buying a like Blade of the Ruined King or something.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds awesome.
Basically, talent is items for that game.
Right.
Yeah, I play League of Legends just enough to be bad. So, and that's all right. It's fun still playing with you guys. So,
Yeah.
And both
but I mean, Heroes of the Storm interests me. I mean, would you say that this is, a remake of League of Legends with Blizzard skins? Is that what they're after?
no.
They're changing it enough. It's
Yep.
their unique take on not a League of Legends remake, but it's their own Dota, their own personalized Dota.
So,
So-
on a scale of 1 to 10, where does it rate right now where it sits? And obviously, we're talking about alpha.
Yes.
talking-
Yeah, this is early alpha, as they call it exactly.
Okay. And
So
where
are you
would you
talking
say?
like only gameplay or also aesthetic?
No, just all around. I'm just talking about all around. Obviously,
Oh,
like if you're going to
aesthetically.
rate League of Legends, then aesthetics would come into it. But I mean, gameplay probably counts for 70%, where aesthetics only counts at 30% of your overall rating.
Okay, well, Clive first then, because he's played the most out of the three of us.
I would put it... Okay, so just for reference to... I would probably put League of Legends at maybe 7 or 8. I mean, I love the game, but I have a lot of frustrations with it.
The community, that's all my frustration.
Yeah, community's really bad, and then there are some ladder qualms that I have about it. Not exactly sure how the ladder is going to work, and...
What Clive is trying to say is that he's really upset that he's still in bronze.
Yeah, I actually just got demoted
Yeah,
again
he's
this
burned.
morning. So I'm back down to bronze 4. Anyway.
We did some drinking this morning because of that.
Yeah, that's right.
League of Legends drives him to drink.
Yes.
So 7 of 10 on League of Legends. So where does Heroes sit?
I would say that right now, and this maybe is just because I don't really have the game figured out, but I would say that it's probably a 6 or 7, and has potential to be 7 or 8.
So you're on board. You're gonna play this game.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things that requires figuring out meta game things. I think it's gonna have a lot of good team dynamics, which just no one is used to yet.
Yeah. Chris, where do you sit?
Well, I mean, I'll start with League of Legends at first. I think League of Legends gets an 8.5. And I think it's gameplay, it's skins, which I am a huge skin buyer, probably the biggest of any
Speaking
of
of payers, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, I don't think it'd be any higher. I think that's in account with the community. I think I don't know, I ignore the community a lot. So
Now Chris is
around
like
8.5.
Now Chris is like the biggest Blizzard fanboy I know.
I am.
So I want to hear your rating on Heroes, and just take it with that fact in mind.
I've only had like an hour or so played. Only made it into co-op versus AI because, limited time and being gone for the weekend up here visiting Clive. But I'd say where it stands right now, and this is based on a lot of watching Clive play, watching professional gamers play, I'd say it is at a 5 currently. I think this game, for me, will get up to around a 9. That could go in a really weird direction based on what they do.
Meaning, I give it an 8. I can fap to it.
I could fap to it now. So, I mean, that's
he has pretty low FAP standards.
But there are a lot of
he plays Arthas, and Arthas like whips out Shadowmourne. Chris is like, I give it a 10.
Instant, it happens.
That's it.
Yeah, immediately. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, that point fanboy part is a big part for me. But I think that it's not the reason I play the game. It just increases the enjoyment level for me. So I think when it's polished down, like the biggest complaint I have and lots of people have is you have mounts in the game. And when you mount up, everyone has a plain old like pony horse, like the default WoW mount that everyone hates because it's just a brown horse that no one likes.
What?
That's what it is. And when you see when you see Tassadar and Zeratul riding a horse, and you see a Marine riding a horse, which is actually physically impossible because of their armor, literally impossible. And you see Patches, the big old flesh golem guy. Riding a horse, it's silly. So
the thing about that is, I think that's an alpha thing.
That is exactly what everyone else thinks. But like, that's something that immediately everyone's like, this needs to change. Like,
if there's one thing that I think makes Blizzard stand out among game developers, it's that they have attention to detail. They care about the way their final product is before it comes to market. And I don't think you'll see something like. I think that's just kind of everybody needs to go fast at the beginning, and you get them out. That's the way it is.
On its own right.
Yeah.
So.
So this is something that obviously, as we do NerdQuake going forward, this is something we'll be excited to talk about, and hopefully I'll get an invite here soon. So, Clive's going to be out there next week, so I'm just going to make sure that he puts a good word in for me.
That's right.
So I can put an hour in and decide that I suck at it and probably never play it again.
I think it'll be easier for your team to carry you in this game than in League of Legends.
It really will, because you'll be rewarded just on what the team does, because your currency is experience.
Bingo.
Well, this game, I think, just from watching Clive stream it a little bit, I think it plays a little different than League of Legends, too. So
certainly, yeah.
I might have a little bit more comfort in it.
They're not trying to do the exact same lanes. They're not trying to copy the jungle. They're not trying to copy it at all, and that's great, because they're just going back to what made MOBAs unique, and then how can we make it even more unique for ourselves?
I like that each... they have different levels. It's a little bit like StarCraft in a way. You get spawned into a random... it's almost a different scenario, and each one has, I guess, a theme. So there's a pirate theme where these treasure chests will spawn, and you get gold pieces that you can use to bribe the pirate ship in the middle to fire on your opponent's towers and things like that. So each one has a neat...
They don't work for free.
Yes, exactly. So each one has a different neat mechanic. So I think that also helps to keep the game fresh. I'm sure that there's, when new seasons come around, there's going to be a new map set. That's going to help keep the game fresh. And, I mean, not to hate on League of Legends, but the game has been stagnant, and all they do to change the game is, try to balance, certain champions, and sometimes they change like how the jungle works a little bit, and those are just small tweaks. To be honest, I
They're
think
not necessarily good either. Like, I mean, I know I was disappointed
Yeah.
that they changed Master Yi. It took me, Chris will tell you, it took me a long time to find a character that I like.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to change it, they totally changed it. They took away, the AP Master Yi is gone. And that was like, I finally found something I liked and I was playing pretty decently. And then I came back after a few weeks and it was gone. I mean, that's tough. And I agree. The expansions are needed badly for League of Legends too.
Yeah.
Like they don't.
Well, they
it doesn't
just
feel
need
like
to-
they're growing at all.
They need to go beyond like everyone focuses on one map. The other play modes are just purely for goofing off fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, what else? What's new that we're looking forward to? We got Wildstar in our notes here, Chris. I know you played Wildstar, and you basically said flop.
I did not like it. I just experienced a very, very generic leveling, and that is the biggest thing to be like, wow, do not want to spend time getting to endgame. I don't care how great it may be. I think they even mentioned housing, and you guys might know for me, housing in MMOs and building things and design, personalizing, that's what drives me to buy things, and that's what really keeps me in the game. I love building houses and stuff.
Spoken like a true Ultima Online former player.
Exactly. Oh my god. And a lover of Minecraft. There's a reason I still play that game to this day quite often.
Yeah.
But I don't care to ever see the end of that game. I don't think I'll ever buy it.
Yeah. And I mean, the hype that it's been getting seems to be only from them. I haven't really read any community hype about it at all.
I have. That's why I signed up for the beta, because the hype, it sounded great. It sounded different, and then the leveling was like, wow, this sucks. This is boring.
The thing is, I think the days of leveling a character like that, they're getting over because, you've done it. You've done it in EverQuest. If you start at the beginning, you've done it, in like the old Lore of the Red Dragon type stuff. If you've done it in EverQuest, done it in World of Warcraft, even moving from EverQuest to World of Warcraft was a stretch, but WoW had a fresh new take on it. So WoW did what it did, and by the way, I finished all of my characters to 90, so I have every class at 90 now in World of Warcraft. So pretty big
Selling
achievement.
his account, message us for details.
Which ironically, there's no achievement in game for that. There's no achievement for hitting 90.
Well, there
with
is
every
one
class.
for getting 5 classes leveled.
Yeah, I have that. I did get
Which is
that.
silly
One.
that it wouldn't have one for every class, though.
Yeah, I was really surprised and disappointed and heartbroken.
1 out of 10 would not level all characters again.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since now you get the free. We have a mutual friend who literally paid his account to 90. Every class. So $60 you can have a 90. And I have very mixed emotions about that. I thought that was kind of a poor choice by Blizzard. But I do understand the reasoning, because people don't want to dive in and level anymore. So by offering that $60 upgrade, I think Blizzard has almost admitted that the days of leveling are gone, because people won't do that. When they release this new expansion, which I prepaid for, and I will probably get back into WoW a little bit once the expansion comes out. But leveling from 1 to 100 in World of Warcraft, that sounds like Chinese water torture. I mean, I don't think I'm interested in that. I mean, I don't know if I could. And Clive has still yet to play WoW,
That's right.
even though
he will.
his wife has a 90.
That's
She has a couple 90s.
she does.
Couple, does she?
Yeah, she's got an Alliance 90. Did you know that?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I saw her on her Alliance. I had to make fun
In
of
fact,
her.
funny story about that. When they were streaming together, Clive and his wife, she was saying something about me giving her crap about being Alliance, not Horde, and I was like, whoa!
But that was me.
Exactly. I was like, I would never, ever give
I was
anyone
like,
crap for being Alliance, because
I
love
think
them.
I actually told her. I was like, Chris would appreciate that you have an Alliance character, but I don't.
Instant defense mode, like, whoa, this definitely was not me. It would never happen in a million years.
Yeah. Chris has some moral conventions that make him think that they really screwed up the game by allowing, Taurens to be druids.
Oh my, anyone but Night Owls. Disagree with completely.
Yeah. I liked the interesting concept of having shamans only on the Horde side and druids only on the Alliance side.
Yep.
So, or was it paladins? Shamans and paladins, right? There was druids on both from the beginning. Is that right?
Yeah, from the beginning there were. Yeah, it was Paladins and Shamans.
Can you believe we've been
Nice.
playing that game for, 12 years now?
Yeah, I remember when I got the game in Stress Beta, and I made an undead warrior for the very first time and named him Gangsta Bones.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
You've created a Alliance versus Horde chants in the viewer viewer stream here.
Have I? They're all wrong if they say Horde. I mean,
Vinar says go Alliance.
and Vinar, he's a good guy. He should say that.
Stand
What
up
does he
gentleman.
He knows that he should go Alliance.
Jeez. Alliance. The thing about it was when we started, and Chris, you'll remember this if you played in beta. When we started, the big thing was PvP. Was that Alliance sucked at PvP?
Oh, still do. That's still to this day.
It's ironic. It's really weird because it's a generalization, obviously, but it really kind of rings true across most of the servers.
Well, even more so because I've always hated PvP, and just recently, my friend Chris has finally convinced me to do PvP with him. So I've been primarily PvPing now, doing arenas and battlegrounds.
Now, I remember Alterac Valley on Horde side. You could basically go in and just like play a little bit, and you don't really have to do anything. Just kill a few people if you can, and you get a win. You didn't even have to worry about it. It was just an instant win. And things aren't that way anymore. I think it's a little more balanced than it used to be. But that's also because a lot of Horde players have switched over because of, weird advantages that have remained in the game forever, like the human PvP advantage, which is getting the second trinket. So.
Oh, Undead have always had that too.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite
the
the same.
Forsaken. Yeah, it almost is. It's
Yeah.
for what? Fears, charms, and sleeps.
Yeah, fears, charms, and sleeps. That's right. So stuns is the one that makes the humans have the advantage.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I mean, the game has really lost its appeal. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the new expansion.
Well, back to what we were talking about leveling though, because I'm reading the chat. Some people were talking about that. Some is what I'm thinking. Back to Ultima Online, going real old, is their style was unique in the fact that you could enter the game and do almost anything immediately. It's just a matter of your skills aren't that high, and you could change your skills at any time. What I would like to see in an MMO is something where you get into the game and you start off at, there's no level, but you have professions or something like that, where you can get into any content or just live a life as someone in their profession, like a blacksmith or something, where that could be the focus. I think that'd be interesting because then it's like you're in the game. Okay, the game focuses on all end game content. What could you do with raids? How many different raids are there? What kind of itemization is there?
The interesting thing about that in particular is that clearly that game concept works because that's what Ultima Online did essentially. But the graphics obviously were not there when Ultima Online came around. So it's weird to say that now that we've got these graphic abilities where, I mean, you could make a phenomenal blacksmith shop where they're putting out really cool weapons and allow them to customize them and stuff like that. And you don't see a game evolve that suits that kind of gameplay. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm surprised that, the existing MMOs have not tried to implement something like that.
I think it'll change eventually because with all the copycats who have failed out there, like pretty much every single MMO since World of Warcraft, I think that doing something actually unique like that can really change and level out the playing field. And you know what? It honestly could be Blizzard who does it with their next gen MMO they've been working on and scrapped, and that is Hush Hush. Who knows?
I have no idea.
I see the chat room talking about Star Wars Galaxies. I mean, I played that game, and the concept of that game, of course, was that you are a person, and you could do whatever you want. You're not a paladin. You're not a mage. You're just a person. And then you could say, I want to be a bounty hunter, or I want to be whatever. And then in that skill, doing things that applied to different trees allowed you to level up different trees. And that, ironically, that concept is really kind of cool. Star Wars Galaxies is obviously gone, but
I'm very sad I never played that one.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. The thing about that game is, when you think about Star Wars, and this doesn't apply unilaterally across the board because a lot of people didn't, but when you think about Star Wars, you want to play a Jedi. I mean, that's the truth. I think most people are like, how do I get to be a Jedi? Well, the concept at the start of that game was that we're not going to tell you. You can be a Jedi, but we're not going to tell you how you can do it.
And that did always sound really cool. Very neat.
Very cool concept. And I was actually the 7th person to unlock Jedi on my server. And what it was essentially they had 2 random trees that you had to master. And they didn't tell you what there was. And I think there was 12 trees or 7. I'm not sure how many trees there were, but I think there was somewhere between 7 and 12. But if you finished both of those trees, and you could drop a tree at any time. So I could go bounty hunter and decide I'm done being a bounty hunter and just drop it and go whatever commando or whatever their other things were. So a lot of people were doing that. They get to be bounty hunter, play it all up, learn it, get the achievements. Then they would just drop it and do another class. And I was one of those guys. We were really kind of exploring and seeing what we wanted to do. And all of a sudden, you got an extra character slot on your account. And that character was a Jedi. It was a young Jedi. And then when you leveled up your Jedi, if you died, that character was dead.
Really?
Yes,
I
one
didn't know
shot,
about that.
one
Wow,
kill.
that's really interesting.
Yeah, and so you had to be very careful. And whenever another player saw you pull out your lightsaber or use the Force, you would go up on the bounty boards. Because as a bounty hunter, the missions that naturally generated from the mission generators would be for live targets, including
Oh, wow.
you.
I'm really sad I missed out on that game.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
mean,
really fun.
yeah, it was brilliant. Actually, the way they designed it was brilliant, and it made you be careful. But I remember, like for example, and here's the thing is, MMOs have that, and this is kind of gets back to what Clive was talking about with the auction house on Diablo, is that if everybody has good gear, nobody has good gear because it's all the same. But I remember being in I had leveled up my Jedi, I had leveled up most of the trees, and I was in a starport, and I decided I was just going to show off. So this guy dueled me because that was just something you did while you were waiting for ships. And you weren't just a Jedi. You could be other trees. So my guy was a hand-to-hand fighter. I forget what they called it, but there was like a martial arts. Terraskazi, that's what they called it. That's like the martial art in Star Wars. But my guy's a Terraskazi fighter. So I started fighting the guy, and we're dueling. And then I just took out my lightsaber and owned him in the middle of the starport. And everybody was like, oh my God, it's a Jedi.
Get him!
Yeah, you had this rock where they couldn't attack you unless you had a bounty on you, but you had this rock star thing going on because there wasn't any Jedis, and thousands of people are playing this game, and there's, maybe 100 Jedis at the time that I was a Jedi, and it was pretty cool. And then of course they introduced it with the NGE that everybody could become a Jedi. It just became another tree, and then it wasn't exciting anymore. So, I mean, it is what it is. That game had a lot of interesting concepts, but I don't know, the appeal was not there because everybody wanted to be a Jedi. I mean, there's a lot to it. Yeah, and the player cities, there was a lot of other neat stuff in there too. It was disappointing to see that game go, but I wasn't playing it at the time. So I actually sold my account when I got that Jedi. After I maxed him out, I think I sold it for like $700.
You are kidding me.
No. Yeah, and I just went and got another Jedi after that. So, I mean, because I knew the trick already, so we just got another character, started leveling, and he actually wanted me to pay me to do another Jedi for him, to unlock another account for him. But it's just a guy, I think his name was Tom, and it was just a nice guy. He just didn't have time. He worked a lot, had money, he didn't have time, but he wanted to play a Jedi. So, and back then it was extremely valuable because it was extremely rare. So, interesting. That guy actually, towards the end of Star Wars Galaxies, I actually logged on and created an account when it became free to play, just to kind of see it. And I added him to my friends list. He was still playing that account. So
That's good.
yeah,
Get you guys money out of it.
yeah.
Hopefully.
It was definitely cool. He got a bunch of legacy things for being a Jedi when they switched over, I guess. So, it still was a unique account in that regard. But yeah, it was a fun game. I mean, if you're a Star Wars nut, the game was enjoyable. So, and just, Old Republic is a good example of that too. I mean, the leveling in that game, if you're a Star Wars fan, the leveling in that game was so fun. Like, I still recommend, it's free to play now, so I still recommend making an account and just going through the storyline, because if you ever wanted to be a Sith and feel like a Sith, this game will take you through a storyline, and you will be a Sith. That was really cool. But then, of course, there's nothing in game, and I don't know if that's changed because I can't even play it on my system now because it doesn't even work with Windows 8. It just crashes miserably, and they haven't fixed it, which is ironic.
Well,
But,
no one uses Windows 8, but maybe that's
yeah.
another story.
Apparently I'm the only one. But yeah, I mean, the storyline in that's probably the best leveling. Now, of course, they have a diverse universe to pull from. So somebody who's trying to compete with World of Warcraft who doesn't have that, that's going to be something totally different. I bet we see some new Star Wars stuff spring up since Episode 7's coming out.
But now EA has exclusive rights to develop Star Wars games.
That is so disappointing.
Yep.
So disappointing. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do to make another, massively multiplayer game and not try and remake World of Warcraft / EverQuest.
I think that would be a successful future of MMOs.
What's that?
Just changing up how they make them.
Yeah, there's got to be a
Strain
change.
from the formula, going back to things Ultima did or things Galaxies did by the sounds of it. Just really not doing the level grind, and then all you have left is PvP or PvE. Like, those are the only options in current day MMOs.
Yeah, and I think
You
what it
raid.
comes down to is let's look at everything that's worked and all the stuff that has not worked, and pull everything that's worked and make it great. I mean, make something new and exciting and make it great. Well, we'll see what happens. I haven't seen anything that's excited me in the MMO world, recently. So what we want to talk about next? Goat Simulator.
Yeah. The greatest game that I played for 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's actually weird. This has been a big hype game before it came out. And I think what happened was Coffee Stain Studios, they, I guess as an April Fool's or a joke, they had like videos for Goat Simulator, and apparently the public was like, no, we actually want this. So because of the public outcry for making Goat Simulator, they made Goat Simulator. And it's just a silly, polished physics game that they left every single bug in that didn't crash the game. So it's just complete silly running around. It really reminds you of playing like some of the Tony Hawk Pro Skaters. Like, you're trying to go around, jump, hit things, and rack up combo points and stuff. And then there's funny achievements like you can visit the castle and become king of all goats, which I have proudly done. So if anyone asks if you know the king of goats, yes, you do. There is a sacrificial circle in the corner where you can sacrifice goats or humans to get some crazy goat demonic power. It's fun, but it really doesn't last long. But the thing that'll make you go back and play a little bit here and there just for fun is they have a lot of people doing mods for it, and they are coming out with some additional content. So this is a straight up play it for the last for a few hours, and then yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I tried to win it on Clive's stream, but didn't work out. So.
Shot down.
That's right.
Yeah.
So is it worth $10? You think?
$10, yeah. For $10, it's worth it.
Because I think about
if you're one of those penny pinchers, I guess not. But I mean, $10 is not a high price for a silly little game.
$10 for 4 hours. That's $2.50 an hour.
and I think about going to see a movie in the theater, and that's $10 right there, and that
Yeah,
is
it's better value than going to see a movie.
yeah,
Speaking of seeing movies, who saw Captain America?
not me.
Nobody.
You did.
Epic movie. Yeah, you're gonna go. If Candace wants to go, she's gonna get you to go.
I'll see it in theaters before it's out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I honestly think Captain America is better than the Avengers. So, if you enjoyed the Avengers, this is a great storyline, and if you love the backstories of the comic book characters that that you love from the Avengers movies, then you're gonna love this because it really kind of goes back to Captain America's backstory a little bit, and you get to meet Captain America's sidekick, actually, his old sidekick, and I'll leave that up for grabs because that's part of the storyline. But phenomenal movie. Action was great. Story was great. Highly recommend seeing it. So even Clive's going to go see it.
Negative.
Like Lieutenant Freedom or something.
What, Lieutenant Freedom?
I'm just making. I don't know anything about Captain America, so I'm just making sure.
Captain America's sidekick was named Bucky.
Was it? That's a terrible name. He sucks.
That's
Well, you
Don't want to see the movie.
gotta understand that Captain America is not of our generation. He was in the ice for 70 years, so something like that. But so what about what are we going to talk about now? We're getting close to the end here. We're trying to keep this in a shorter format. Let's talk about the Oculus Rift. Did you guys support it at all in the Kickstarter?
No.
Nope.
Haven't looked into it. Only time I heard about it was when they talked about the actors on my Facebook.
That was the first time you heard about it?
No, but the first time I paid attention to it in the slightest.
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't cared. I will never. I don't see myself ever buying that. At least in the next 10 years.
I'll tell you what made me excited about it was the Titanfall videos. Did you guys see those at all?
Nope.
I mean, that we haven't played Titanfall. None of us have we?
Nope.
No.
Which is sad because that game looks awesome. I probably will eventually pick that up for PC. But the idea of getting into one of those Titans That was one of the first things that Oculus Rift advertised with. And think about that. You're in the cockpit of one of those things, and now you can look around at the controls. They said that the tie-in with that was unreal. So though I don't know if I would buy one right, at least not right now, the idea interested me. It was very neat. And when you see the reactions that people have when they put this thing on, it's definitely got some appeal, and I can see it being amazing in the future. But now it's owned by Facebook. So that's such a weird acquisition. I just did not. I was shocked about that.
Oh man, the jokes that have come out since that, and the opinion of the internet is definitely not in favor of that. But
well, it's a big problem. If you're going to ask me for money to support your company and your device, then you don't get to sell out. When the opportunity comes down the road.
Why not?
Well, because we're supporting it based on your vision. So you created that company on the backs of the people who supported you, and then all of a sudden now the people's vision doesn't apply anymore, because now it's Facebook's vision.
What if your vision was to, get a bigger backer, someone who has more resources than you?
But that's not what happened. He sold
out.
But
what it sounds like is it doesn't sound like Facebook's going to have a lot of involvement. And this, I'm not saying that is the case, but he did do an AMA, the guy, and he's trying to debunk myths, as he says, and basically it sounds like it's still going to be the original vision he had, and he's still going to have complete control over it, from what he says.
The thing about corporate control is no one who is under the umbrella of the corporation really has the control. I mean, the bottom line is that somebody up there is going to have a say in the matter. So, and again, of course, I'm speculating here. I just don't like the concept that, he had people pay to make this thing happen, and then he cashes out. I don't like that idea.
Well, he's not abandoning it. And, I mean, think about the technology they're using in this. And what did they raise through the Kickstarter?
2.4 million, I think, something like that.
Do you really think 2.4 million is enough to make a virtual reality-based system really the best it can be?
I think that they only asked for a quarter of that. So,
but in the long run,
the thing is, I think it already existed. I think it was, more refining it. So,
Now, here's my question: are the people who supported the Kickstarter, are they still going to get their benefits back? Whatever the rewards are.
They've already got their benefits.
Oh, well then what's the big idea? No problem, right? No harm, no foul.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the way that I'm not a supporter. So again, I'm speaking only from third-party opinion, but a lot of people from the Kickstarter campaigns were the prime complainers. The Kickstarter comment feed on the Oculus is one of the big places where people were like, how can you build your company on the backs of people who support you? Because essentially you're investing, and you get nothing in return but a product. But you're investing in an idea. So people have a lot of emotions tied to these Kickstarter campaigns, and I understand that.
So they invested, and you said they already got their benefits of being early supporters, right?
Yeah, they got an Oculus or whatever. I mean, there was listed benefits,
So they got that, and it's still in development, hasn't been abandoned, obviously. So if they still get the same product they expected and more because of this acquisition,
well, it's not going to be more.
Harm?
That's the thing, is that third-party developers will not be the same, because a lot of third-party developers don't want to work with Facebook. So now they're saying that there's a lot of third-party developers still involved and still interested in developing software for it. But Facebook is talking about turning it into a social device, which I find bizarre. I don't. The first thing that comes to mind is like virtual sex or something. What does that even mean?
Oh, well, shit,
it's like, why do you need? This is like, I'm in.
I'm
why do you need 3D glasses for social? Or 3D device like this.
So you can pet your Farmville cows.
Yeah, that's pretty much right on the money. It's bizarre.
Cow, go to my grandma and tell her that I need coins to grow more of you cows.
Yeah, exactly. So
forth and spread my vision of a new farm. Dear.
I'm okay with it as long as Facebook doesn't try to tie it into like their closed architecture, like they tried to do with the Facebook embedded games. As long as they allow other developers who are going to, get their game Oculus Rift support, as long as that is maintained, I don't have a problem with it.
We'll see where it goes. I mean, this is something that we're going to have to watch over the, probably multiple years, because it's only just now gaining some friction. So we'll see where it ends up. I mean, I'm excited of it. You know, I see in the chat, you know, just because you got your benefits doesn't mean you got everything for your money, and that's the point. You know, some people, I think that people do these Kickstarter campaigns as a guy who gets on board early. It's almost like I'm saying I'd rather go to, you know, Joe's Hamburgers down the street than going to McDonald's, because Joe is my neighbor. He lives in this area. You know, he's got kids, and he makes a great burger. It costs me a couple bucks extra compared to what if I was going to McDonald's. But, you know, you want to support your local guys, you know, whereas, and that's what these guys kind of were. They're like, you know, they're not the big company that's putting out this. They're not EA Games, you know. They're just so
No.
they're when I invest, I'm investing in that guy. You know, he has a great vision, has a great idea. So when it becomes Facebook, I feel, you know, dirty.
Well, he sold out because, man, he got 5 kids to feed.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I don't
That
know.
guy Joe, man, he's got lots of kids.
All those investments are risks. Even if, you know, the Kickstarter goal is met and the money, you know, goes to whoever, there's no guarantee that whoever is gonna succeed.
That's definitely true, and it says that in all the Kickstarter campaigns. That's a risk. But when it does succeed, and he sells out, that's, you know, and this did succeed.
Well, now you
just,
have to define
look,
success.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, you know, and I feel I feel your argument too, but you definitely should be able to appreciate the argument that I'm bringing, you know, because you're an indie game lover.
Yeah.
So, you know, imagine you know, decided to invest and buy into an indie game company. You know, not on a small scale, but let's say you decided to invest $50,000 in an indie game company.
So, okay, I got this.
Produce a piece of software.
So Fez 2 goes to Kickstarter. Phil Fish is like, yeah, if I get enough money, I'll make Fez 2 again. I'll uncancel Fez 2. And so he gets the money, and then he says, I'm outsourcing Fez 2 production to EA.
Oh my God, you would go and kill him personally, wouldn't you?
I would be upset, but then at the same time, I would have said, well, I was the idiot who put money towards it.
See, that's the thing, though.
Big
That's
burn backers.
what you're saying right now is a problem that's inherent to society right now. When we invest in somebody, they should respect our investment. You know, instead of you going, nah, I should have never invested. That's wrong. I think investing in people is great. Investing in ideas is great. And that kind of attitude is what burns it out. You know, these guys who are like, oh, well, now that I've made it, I'm just going to sell to Facebook. Well, shit, now I don't want to invest in it.
Corporate
You know what I'm
America
saying?
has ruined me.
Yeah. No, and that's true. You're absolutely right. In the end, he has every right to do that. It's his company.
Yeah.
Kickstarter doesn't give you any ownership. But there's a respect thing there, you know? It's like, hey, it's almost like if I just personally, me and you, and I said, Clive, listen, I've got this great idea for a business, and I want you to help me with it, you know? And I borrow money from you, you know? I borrow $50,000 from you to launch this business, and you know, you invest your $50,000, and I pay you back $50,000 with no interest, and you're like, hey, I'm so glad you got this off the ground. And I'm like, the day after I pay you back, I just sell it. It's like, and I make $400,000, and you got your $50,000 back. You know, it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a legitimate business deal. But you're like, hey, dude, I personally loaned you that money because I wanted to see you, you know, do something with it. I want to see you succeed, not just make a profit off of my money while I make 0% interest, which is essentially what these guys did with Oculus. You know, their 0% interest is, yeah, they paid for a device, they got their device back, but they're loaning them the money to make this business get off the ground. So whether or not it's right or wrong, it's his business. He can do what he wants with it. But there's a respect level there where you go, man, you know, these guys all helped me get off the ground, you know, and they did it because I'm a small company. That's what they were investing in. They weren't investing in Facebook. So there's kind of a deception feel there, even though it's not. You're right about that. It's not. He has the right to do whatever he wants, but you can understand where I'm coming from. So
Sure,
it's a thing, and while I don't disagree or agree, there's two sides of the story. I understand why they're complaining, you know, and they don't want this thing that they love that they've already bought, and plus the true investment is not the device, because the device is what it is, but the software that comes afterward is the investment. And because Facebook's involved now, that could be totally different than what was originally intended. So we'll see where it goes.
Let's go towards other technology by big companies. So now that we've covered that, what about Google Glass?
That sucks. I'm not even interested. $1,500. You could have owned Google Glass this week for one day. I don't think you can buy it anymore, right? It's closed now.
I don't care what the price is. I still don't know what it does. Like, I've been on the website 5 times.
Clive, do you want to know what it does? Have you seen the sidekick for the Galaxy phones? That's a wristwatch. I forget what they call it. I forget.
I know what you're
The
talking about.
smartwatch
I don't know what
thing?
it's called either.
Smartwatch, yeah.
Yeah.
It connects to your Galaxy and it works back and forth. Essentially, like if you have an appointment coming up, your watch will tell you. You don't have to put your phone in your pocket. You know, it has all that kind of stuff. It's basically that with a camera on your face. I mean,
So it's carrying around an iPad that you wear.
it's not even an iPad. An iPad's a horrible comparison because an iPad does so much more. You know, this thing is like, I don't know, man. I do not see the appeal. You look like a moron. It's got a clock in it all the time. So if you don't want to look at the clock on the wall, I guess you save that. You can watch video in it, but it's in this tiny little floating screen that's like, I don't even know what the resolution is, but I'm sure it's pathetic. The appeal to me just doesn't exist. I'm just like, and the price is a big deal because for the crap that you get, $1,500. One of my clients that I do website for is a optometrist, and he is a licensed Google Glass optometrist, which this is a new thing. I think he's one of the few here in Tampa Bay, and he's actually because what he does is he's licensed to install Google Glass on pairs of prescription frames. So because he can put you can put it on basically any pair of glasses, and he's done I think 5 or 6 because of that. So he's interested in it. He thinks it's kind of cool, but I just don't see that. You know what we're gonna find is like, you guys ever seen The Jerk with Steve Martin?
Yep.
No.
Do you remember the thing that he put on the people's glasses?
The
to hold their
Optigrab.
glasses up? The Optigrab, right?
Yeah.
On those, like, 6 months later they come back and everybody's cross-eyed because they've been staring at it nonstop on their glasses, and they're all suing him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're gonna hear about Google Glass later. Like, it's gonna give you like a lazy eye in your left eye or something, and everybody's gonna sue Google because it's screwing up their vision or something. So it means nothing to me. Would you guys want to own a Google Glass?
I don't know enough about it. I mean, I would try one, and that's the only way I can form. I could read all about it, but until I try it, that's when I can really create an opinion on something like that.
Agreed.
I think they're trying to go for that trendy, like, future everyone's been envisioning about having less hands-on stuff built in. So it's cool they're going in that direction. I mean, I really don't know how functional it is, though.
With the fact that the government can pop in and view any camera that's connected to the internet at any time, this is a scary device.
Yeah, government control, that's, well, that's a whole
Big
different
brother.
thing. So if that
Put
wasn't
on your
in the
tinfoil
picture,
hats.
if that wasn't in the picture, it could be even more appealing, too.
Yeah.
True.
I'd something that was readily available and was $500. I would consider it.
$500 makes a big difference. It does, because
But you know what? That price could happen someday. So,
yeah, if they were at the price point where it was even below that, really, honestly, for me, because $500 is an iPad, and you think about what an iPad does for you, as a device. I mean, you could play Hearthstone. You know what I'm saying?
If I could
but you
play
think-
Hearthstone in my eyeball while I'm at work and no one can tell, well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore, but...
he's in a meeting, he's raging, and he just lost. He's like, oh, it was so close.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. because
Flame
it's
Strike?
done.
What?
Oh, that's bullshit. But then again, actually, they will know if he says that because he'll be working at Blizzard. They'll be like, this guy fucking playing Hearthstone right now. Give him a raise.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
can multitask.
Clive, they'll be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Product research."
Yeah.
Product. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it has no appeal to me. It just really doesn't. I mean, the price point was really low. It might have some appeal.
I think
But
the concept is really cool though, like having this assistant that's like an overlay on your life. I mean, it's almost like we're moving more and more towards being the Borg. You have this mechanical device, and it's just augmenting.
So what he's saying is, we'll get this eventually. It's futile.
Yes, exactly. You will someday be
And
a
certain
Google
applications,
Glass
think
user.
about like a heads-up display for, like, say, a pilot or something, or while you're driving. I mean, they have all that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
The uses are out there.
the big thing is that I don't think the technology is ready. Like when you see the image captured of what you see in a Google Glass when it's in front of your face, I don't think that it is valid enough to be like, wow, this is awesome. I think it'd be much cooler if it was like actually input into some glasses. Like if you had a pair of glasses on and it was on the lens to where you could look at it on your lens. Even then, of course, I'm just speculating, but I mean, I just don't think the technology is caught up with the idea. So
Yeah, but I like the direction it's going in. Whether or not I would actually get the Google Glass, I'm glad it's out. I'm glad they're working on it.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
glad
agree.
to see what will come of it.
I do agree
That's
with that.
bare minimum.
Yeah,
Chris-
the concept is awesome. The concept is awesome.
Chris is gonna get eyeglass,
Nope.
the Apple's version.
Now, yeah, if this was Apple doing it, I would fervently be against it.
Yeah.
And it works because it's like eyeglasses, you guys. You like the puns?
Oh God, we should end the program on that note. That was awful.
This is the first and last of our reboot of NerdQuake.
It's been good. We'll see you next year.
Yep.
So, last thing we should talk about, Clive. Have you got Netflix yet?
Well, that's my second big announcement. That yes, I have finally gotten Netflix.
I can attest to this, and I had a really bad moment. The day Friday, I was sitting here working on a work laptop and watching Netflix on his TV, and that night we were bringing up the whole Netflix thing from the podcast, and I was like, "Did you get it yet?" He's like, "What do you mean? I showed you." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I did watch Netflix earlier too."
So Clive is a proud Netflix. What made you subscribe to Netflix?
The price of cable. My wife and I talked about it. We said, hey, we don't need to be spending, $60 a month for, what we watch, because it's either online on Netflix or we download it anyway. So we switched. We got a Roku, and we're using Netflix, and we have Amazon Prime, and I'm running a Plex server on my computer, and that solves everything that we need to watch TV for.
That's awesome. I agree with it completely. Have you watched Clone Wars at all?
No.
Because the full
about that
series
part,
of Star
too.
Wars Clone Wars is on Netflix, and I'm not a big proponent of cartoons. There's a few that I watch here and there. This was a great series. Chris is probably. I haven't finished watching them. I'm close to halfway through the
I
last
finished.
season. The last season is exclusive to Netflix. Season 6 is.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so.
I didn't know
It's got the Netflix logo when you watch the episodes.
Oh, I was wondering why that was on there. I didn't even.
Yeah, I think it's exclusive. I'm not 100% on that, but man, if you love Star Wars, it really kind of details the story of Anakin, and you really get some more feel for his whole falling off the ropes kind of thing. So
You get a lot of things on every aspect. You get from the troopers. You get from the clones, I should say. You get the aspect of the people who are in the separatists, from the Chancellor, from everyone. You get a good view on everything that leads up to the new stuff.
yeah, they actually show you the Chancellor talking to people as Sidious. So you really kind of get the feel for him being in office and doing things. And there's a part in the I think it's the last season. I don't know if it might have been the end of the 5th season, where they kind of explore the whole idea of Order 66, and the roots
That's
of
the
Order
beginning of season
66.
6. Yeah, and you get to see Sidious go full Sith Lord in action fighting.
Yeah, that was
Which is
pretty
an
cool.
epic scene. I won't go into any more details, but it is that alone. I watched that episode 3 times. It was so good.
Yeah, especially since of who he was fighting on that episode.
Yeah,
That was what made
no
it
spoilers,
awesome.
but it's good. If you haven't watched Clone Wars, anyone listening, watch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
If you have Netflix, it's well worth it.
Yeah, if you love Star Wars, you will enjoy it.
So chronologically, does this take place between episodes 2 and 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which is, probably why I haven't really watched it, because, the whole prequel trilogy kind of turned me off to, pre 4, 5, 6 Star Wars.
Bad. It
I
wasn't
think
that bad.
I think they just chose the wrong things to show and focus on in those things. And episode 1 was kind of worthless, but 2 and 3 served an important point. And you know what? Speaking of that for Star Wars, there's this method of watching Star Wars that's out there. I don't remember what
Yes.
it's called, but basically you watch you do episode 4, and then do you go into 2 and 3 and then 5 and 6, or was it you do 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6?
I have
anyone
not heard about
confirm.
this.
This is the
It's
the
basically they're
hatchet,
trying to give you
or the machete
Yeah, is
order.
that what it is?
It's the machete order.
The idea is you watch the original Star Wars. You start off with Luke and the Resistance, the rebellion and stuff, and then you get into the part with the big reveal of him being the father, and then basically you do flashback to episode 2 and 3 it gives you all the backstory you need to know about his struggle with being a Jedi and all of his problems and how he turned to the dark side, and then you go straight back into episode 6, and you see the redemption, and it really just helps it tie in that stuff and gives you some backstory on the struggle and everything happening with him.
The thing that I thought was really interesting about that is that it makes Luke's struggle with the dark side a little bit more real, because when you watch 4, 5, 6, you never really think, or I never really thought, that Luke would turn to the dark side, because it's just like, join me, Luke's...
goody two-shoes.
Yeah, and Luke is like, no, I'm not going to do that. And that was it. But when you watch 4 or 5, and then watch Anakin get tempted, where he was like this goody two-shoes kid as well, and then got, turned by Sidious, then go...
you got to say, for the prequels, speaking about that particular turn, that was excellently plotted out. I thought that was really well done, because Sidious was so, convincing that he made him feel like he was doing the right thing, even though, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So as much as you could say bad about those series, I thought his fall was done excellently.
Well, and Clone Wars makes the scene even better, because the entire series, you see just how smart Sidious plays everything, about how it was all this master plan, and how manipulative he is, and how everything is just cast in that innocent, want to do good Chancellor, when it's really, really sinister, everything he does. And
when you see Luke or Anakin falling, it's like he's falling for the right reasons. Like, he has love, and stuff like that, and you see that struggle within him, fighting over what he's supposed to do as a Jedi, and these attachments that he can't let go. And you're like, man, he's not a bad guy. It really relates to you in the real world, because there's no bad guys. It's not like you're just bad. It's that people do bad things, and sometimes it's maybe for the right reason, for the wrong reason. The struggle is really cool, and that's what makes Star Wars so cool.
The struggle is real.
Yeah, it was really well done. And Clone Wars, like Chris said, it really does lay it out, because you see him dealing with these struggles, and you're like, I don't know what I would do in that situation,
Yeah.
So it's good. It's really good.
And something important on the Machete Order: if you didn't catch it, you do not watch Episode 1.
You don't watch Episode 1 at all?
No, because the point is that Episode 1 really doesn't give anything useful to the entire series. Like, it doesn't show the struggle. It doesn't show anything to do with Darth Sidious, really, and everything. Like, the only important part is that's kind of what started the war, in a sense. But the Clone War is what really started the war. So, Episode 2 is really... Episode 1 just isn't important enough to watch.
It's interesting.
So, if you want to watch it, great, because, it's a movie, and they do have a great... the lightsaber battle at the end with Darth Maul is always pretty fun to watch, I think. But when it comes to important parts of, like, a series, like, imagine if those were books, all of Episode 1 would have probably been cut for the movie to save time.
It's pretty interesting when you think about Episode 1. There's really nothing important from Episode 1.
Yeah. Like, can we do without all these facts? Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
They found Anakin.
Yeah, that's it. And Anakin's not even really established. I mean, pod racer, that's what you think of him when you think of Episode 1.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah. I recommend watching it, the Machete Order.
Well, the big deal is that the whole thing that, shocked everybody when they watched Star Wars was the scene where Darth Vader says, "Luke, I am your father." Well, if you watch Episode 1, 2, and 3, you know that already. I mean, you know who Darth Vader is, and so there is no exciting.
That's why you have to start with 4, 5, 2, 3.
Yep, 4,
6.
5, and I'm actually, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to do the Machete Order as well.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I have them all. I have the Blu-ray series, so I might try that as well. Very cool. All right, well, how long has it been? How long have we been going?
I think we've been longer than we intended for our short episode.
Yeah.
I think we might have even been longer than an hour, which is our normal target. So.
Well, then we have more.
But that's
stuff
good though, because we're
week.
just talking about stuff. And that's kind of the whole point of this.
We had a lot of catching up to do.
We did have a lot of catching up to. I do agree completely. All right, well, thanks for joining us. Again, this has been episode 19. Hopefully, next week there'll be an episode 20. It's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
Flexible schedule. Let's go with that.
Flexible.
Coming in and other.
It probably won't be
stuff.
next week.
Yeah. I'm going to be driving halfway across the country next week.
Turn on your iPad and look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, just be on the lookout for us. We will probably post plenty of updates of when we will next stream.
Yeah, absolutely. And be sure to check out Clive's stream at twitch.tv/Clive5. And Dark One is SC Dark One, twitch.tv/SC
Yes, and you should tune in to Clive tonight. Why is that,
That's right.
stream viewers? Because of a giveaway. Skyrim is tonight.
That's right.
Skyrim. All of your viewers probably already have Skyrim.
You never know.
That might be
Exactly,
true.
It'll bring in people too. That's the idea.
I don't.
Give them Skyrim.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Get everyone on Cloud Stream tonight.
I don't have Skyrim yet. Maybe I should enroll.
Clive may
live
win
on video.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Clive will be live on video in a pink tutu.
Yes.
Tonight,
Minus
on
the pink
stream.
tutu.
Everything I just said was true except for the pink tutu. All right, guys. I guess that's it for us. Thanks for listening.